back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a celebrity psychic reading on Jennifer Hudson. This was requested by a lot of my viewers, so I'm going to be focusing on her today. When I tune into Jennifer Hudson, we all saw her in American Idol. For those of you that are tuning in that may not know who Jennifer Hudson is, she is a famous singer, performer, actress, model. She's done modeling too. Overall, just a beautiful, girl, woman. And when I tune into her soul, what I see right now is that, she's been through a lot. Um, I'm just giving you a little bit of the backstory before I get into what I see so that way y'all can know and understand where my reading is coming from. She lost some family members in a violent way through a murder. A couple of years ago, her, growing up, she didn't have a lot. There was a lot of struggles. She was surrounded by drugs and gangs and just situations that, children shouldn't be in. And it made her a very strong woman to pursue her career. She's one of the first ones out of her family that really has made an accomplishment, has, made a name for herself and accomplished a lot of things. So she has a lot, and her family has a lot to be proud of her for doing. She also went through a lot of weight struggles and had lost all that weight. She was a little bit bigger in the past, and there's nothing wrong with that. She didn't even have a problem with that, but for health reasons, she wanted to get healthy and lose that weight, and she has maintained it, all these years later. So when I get into Jennifer Hudson's soul energy and what I see for the remaining of 2018, 2019, a lot of it that's coming in is centered around her career. It feels like it's had some peaks. It's gone up, it's gone down. She's had some success with her albums and other projects that she's involved in, but it's been like fluctuating almost like a roller coaster up and down. It doesn't seem like it's just on the rise and, stays at one peak. So what I get from that, it has a lot to do with the factors that are occurring on the external surface of her life. This would be her personal life, the marriages that she was in, and that the divorces, that she had to go through, issues with her family. All of this has kind of, shifted her career in certain ways where she would, have some success for a couple of, months, or a certain year would be good, and then another year would not be so good. And that's not really typical of a lot of artists, that are out there, unless you don't have a good management team. And she's had issues with her management team too. So, it's all a culmination of all of these different factors that have contributed to where she is right now. But I do feel like she is now entering a more solid path and a solid era. So the next, couple of years, I feel like it's just going to be a lot more smoother. She's learned through the mistakes, and she's learned her lessons the hard way, dealing with a lot of these people in the industry. It's really, opened her eyes, and she's not naive. Not that she ever was, but, when you first go into something that, an industry like this, you may not necessarily know exactly everything that's going to be happening. So I feel like she's now, her eyes are awakened. She is someone who comes through, her soul comes through as like a very spiritually awakened person. So I feel like she's almost vibrating between the fourth dimension and the fifth dimension state of consciousness when I tune into her. And she it does believe in God. She does have faith. But she's someone who has used a lot of her adversities to really amplify her career path and her life path, and given her that strength to help other people, help young women, help men, all people of all races, ages, and backgrounds. It's really helped her to communicate and understand a lot that's going on in the world. And for her, even though she has success and she, is, has money, she knows she is always going to remain humble. She hasn't really changed much from when she first started out. a lot of these life lessons that she's gone through have really humbled her in a lot of ways. So with her money, I feel like she's now things are flowing, things are looking up. She's, looking at contracts. I feel like she is also, looking at future terms, with her music and what direction it's going to be going in, and also with acting, movie roles and opportunities that are coming in over the next 2 years. I see her a lot on TV as well, so there could be like a TV show that she would be contemplating to go on. But when it comes into her finances, it looks like everything is solid there. The one area where there is a lot of murkiness is going to be more in her love life. And this is something that's very, a lot of people that are listening can possibly relate to it, because if you have been in a relationship and things just didn't work out, it's the same thing would work for you and it would apply to you. But she's been married twice, and she's divorced, 2 times. So basically, what I see, in her past, what would have contributed, especially with her most recent marriage that ended, what I see in that particular aspect was that the guy had anger issues and temper issues. I feel like he was very controlling, dominating, and just didn't give her space to breathe. I feel like there was a lot of disagreements, but going into it, he was a different person when they first met. And after, she got to know him very well, after some time, he started showing his true colors and changing. And it was just something where they would just argue all the time. There was, just not happy moments for her. And I see visions of her, crying when she was in her own space, because she's a very strong woman. She has this strong exterior, she doesn't let people necessarily see her vulnerable side. But I do feel like at the end of the day, when she's in her own solitary, area in her space, her sacred space, she, does contemplate and reflect back on everything that, that she's been through, and all of these relationships. And she's not a person that is going to let a man walk all over her and treat her like dirt, basically. And her, she knows better, and she knows her self-worth. So like I said, she's very aware, and she is going to be someone that's going to be like an advocate later on for a lot of women, and empowering them and letting them know that it's going to be okay if they're going through domestic violence, if they're going through, cheating relationships that with people that are cheaters, that everything is going to get better. So with her love life, I feel like right now she's in an area where she's more like single. She is more contemplating. Yes, she could be, interested in someone, but for the most part, I don't feel like she's going to necessarily marry again. I feel like, it's clicked in her. If something is clicked and sparked that, she just doesn't want to have that long-term commitment with, she wants a long-term commitment, but not marriage necessarily. And so I feel like she's going to spend the next couple of years maybe dating off and on. There may be like a relationship in the tabloids, but for the most part, I don't see anything solid yet. But again, the future is unwritten, so her free will can change things in any aspect or any way that she would like to. But the snapshot that I'm getting right now from, Jennifer Hudson's soul and what I'm seeing, I feel like there's like a dry period for her in her love life. Mainly, she's going to be, dating, maybe going out with friends or refer to them as friends, but I don't see anything solid here. And I think this is actually a good thing for her. She, not everybody needs to be in a relationship or rush into the next relationship because they fear loneliness. A lot of people actually, a lot of celebrities, in fact, fear loneliness. But when I get into Jennifer Hudson's soul, I don't feel like she's one of those people who fears being alone. She, even though, yes, she has had a lot of, trauma and things that are very chaotic happen in her life, has this, this uncanny resilience and strength to just love herself and know her self-worth, and she's at the point in her life now where she's not really gonna, allow herself to ever be disrespected again in that kind of manner. So like I said, I don't see like she would really necessarily need somebody to complete her. It would be nice and she'd be open to it, but there's no rush for that. More right now, what I see her is kind of like going through some revisions in other areas of her life, her career, continue to earn. There is another woman that is very influential, and I feel like she is also in the music industry, much older. And I feel like, she is kind of like a wise counsel to Jennifer Hudson. I feel like she is African American as well. This very much well could be like Aretha Franklin. That's what I'm kind of getting. But it could be somebody else that is out there that is a very influential female, African American female that is much older than Jennifer and giving her a lot of pointers. I do see like a male coming into her life. This could be someone that is more business-like, and this could be involving a contract with her. But I actually see her kind of pushing him away and him going away. So he's temporary. So there's a lot of people coming in and out of her life for the next 2 to 3 years. These are friendships that are going to be compromised and ending. A lot of people can't handle the truth, and Jennifer speaks the truth. She is the real deal. She gives it to you the way that she's going to interpret it. So she's not going to sit there and lie to you or agree with you on every single thing. She has her opinions, and a lot of people that are currently in her friends or in her, family, even her family, they may not like, her openness and her unfiltered self. She doesn't have a filter when it comes to speaking the truth. So I see a lot of, relationships and friendships. Basically, these are business relationships and also friendships that she would be having over the next 2 to 3 years that would end abruptly. And, she can sometimes, be sensitive and feel like perhaps she was reason to, that this, happen, or she's to blame. But she's not the one to blame, and everything that is the people that are going and leaving and coming into her life are basically lessons for her, and kind of, certain people come into our life at certain times to help us, and when their job has been served, or the lesson has been served, or their mission, then they leave our life, and they exit, and they may still, from time to time stay in touch, but nothing solid is there. But overall, I see in her life, in her mental state, her spiritual state, mind, body, and soul, these three unisons, a lot of that is good for her. There's a lot of bright, future for her. I don't feel like it's dark and gloomy. And I do feel like there is something that she is going to be publicly coming out with and talking about herself. Maybe this could be, I feel like it's almost more like of a medical condition that a lot of people may not be aware of, but it's coming through very strong with spirit. Yes, she has lost the weight. Yes, she has been, a little, more what people would consider thin, because people associate thin, it's a stereotype that because you're thin, you're healthy, right? So that's a big misconception. And I feel like even though she is thin, when I get into her health, and again, this is not any kind of diagnosis, I cannot diagnose anyone, but when I get into her health, I just feel like she is going through some health issues at this time. And so, over the next 2 to 3 years, these will become a little bit more prevalent. I feel like this has to do a lot with her immune system, her bones, and just overall things that she would have inherited that are hereditary, in the family. One of the things that she should definitely watch for is diabetes. And I know that this is, something that people would be saying, well, she's thin, and usually they associate diabetes with people who are obese, and that's not the case. You can be stick figure, real thin, real thin, skinny, and still have diabetes. But blood sugar, is something that she definitely needs to watch for herself. And this that's part of the pancreas and the liver, so the insulin. So she definitely needs to watch that, and also her blood pressure. But these again are just two areas that she needs to watch. But I do feel like now she's going to be taking more chances. She's with all the trauma that she experienced, she has learned to not trust every single body, and rely a lot on her discernment and her own inner intuition to guide her. But I feel like she's now going to be evolving and going into a new space in her life where she sort of is just going to go into things and not necessarily have reservations, but be open to possibilities of things that can be happening for her. And as a result, I see her again, working very hard towards her financial security. So she's never going to have really problems in her financial security. But in the past, she did. I feel like there were some people that were maybe not managing or overcharging for their services and stuff on her team. So these are things that, again, that she is watching very closely, and she's in a good space. So this is my psychic reading for Jennifer Hudson. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you did like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And if you would like to set up a private reading with me, you can go to my website. That's www.raymondguzman.net/shop. Blessings and love and light. Have an amazing day.